what are the actions that can help us to get the shafa'ah of the Prophet ﷺ? What are the things that are mentioned in the sunnah that can increase our chances for obtaining that shafa'ah? A number of things are mentioned. Number one on this list, the most important thing to get shafa'ah, our Prophet ﷺ said, when you hear the mu'adhin, repeat after him, and then send your salat upon me, and then ask Allah to grant me the wasila. For whoever asks Allah for wasila for me, my shafa'ah will become halal for him. حَلَّتْ لَهُ شَفَاعَةِ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ. And this hadith is in Sahih Muslim, and versions are found in Bukhari and others. So we have over here one of the most explicit linkage between doing something and getting shafa'ah. What is it? To say the dua after the adhan. Allahumma rabba hadhihi ad-da'wati at-tamma was-salati al-qa'ima ati Muhammadan al-wasilata wal-fadila. So this dua we're supposed to say after the adhan. What is the wasila? We will talk about this inshallah when we talk about Jannah and the categories of Jannah. But there is a hadith in Musnad Imam Ahmad that our Prophet ﷺ said, Al-wasilatu darajatun inda Allahi laysa fawqaha daraja. Fasalu Allah an yu'tiyani al-wasila. Wasila is a level of Jannah. There is no level higher than this level. So ask Allah to give me that wasila. So what is wasila? Wasila is the highest daraja of Jannah. And our Prophet ﷺ said, whenever you ask Allah for the wasila for me, the shafa'ah becomes halal, or it becomes obligatory upon you. Notice, حَلَّتْ لَهُ شَفَاعَتِي means Allah will grant you my shafa'ah. Remember, all shafa'ah goes back to Allah. And even in this phrasing, the Prophet ﷺ didn't say, I will give you. He said, Allah will make it halal for you to obtain my shafa'ah. Yani حَلَّتْ لَهُ, yani Allah Azza wa Jal will allow you to obtain this shafa'ah. Remember, shafa'ah belongs to whom? قُلْ لِلَّهِ الشَّفَاعَةُ Jami'a. All shafa'ah belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So number one, how do we get the shafa'ah? We ask wasila for the Prophet ﷺ. Number two, from this hadith as well, some ulama have derived from this hadith that sending salat upon the Prophet ﷺ also grants us the shafa'ah. Because the hadith says, when you hear the adhan, say what he says, then send your salat upon me, then ask for wasila. Whoever does so will get my shafa'ah. So two things are mentioned actually. So some of our scholars have derived, number two, sending salawat upon the Prophet ﷺ and making it something that is constant. So the one who constantly sends salawat upon our Rasul ﷺ, there is the possibility of his shafa'ah being higher. Number three, of the ways we can increase the shafa'ah of the Prophet ﷺ for us. Abu Hurairah said, Ya Rasulullah, man as'adu nasi bi shafa'atika yawm al-qiyamah. O Messenger of Allah, who will be the luckiest person, or the one who has the lion's share of your shafa'ah on the Day of Judgment? Who has the most chances of your shafa'ah on Day of Judgment? This is a very explicit hadith. Abu Hurairah is asking our Prophet ﷺ. Hadith is in Sahih Muslim. And the Prophet ﷺ responded, لَقَدْ ظَنَنْتُ يَا أَبَا هُرَيْرَةَ أَلَّا يَسْأَلَنِي عَنْ هَذَا الْحَدِيثِ أَحَدٌ أَوَّلَ مِنْكَ. I thought that nobody would ask me this question before you, O Abu Hurairah, because of your eagerness. The one who has the most chance for my shafa'ah on the Day of Judgment is the one who says La ilaha illallah sincerely from his heart, khalisatan min qalbi. So how do we get the shafa'ah? Perfect our tawheed, perfect La ilaha illallah, and say it from our qalb, knowing what it means, implementing it, acting upon it. So this is point number three. How do we get the shafa'ah of the Prophet ﷺ? By repeating the kalima, and by saying it from our hearts, and by meaning it. Man qala La ilaha illallah. And especially the one who says the kalima at the time of death, even though that is not linked to the shafa'ah, but we know from other traditions, Man kana akhira kalamihi la ilaha illallah dakhala al-jannah. So the one who says la ilaha illallah constantly, and inshallah the one who says it at the time of death, we ask Allah Azza wa Jal to grant us the kalimah at the time of death. May Allah make the last breath that we say la ilaha illallah. So the one who says la ilaha illallah has a higher chance of getting the shafa'ah. In fact, according to this hadith, we should put this number 1 and not number 3. And all of these are valid points, because the hadith says, who has the most chance, who has the luckiest opportunity? As'adun nas, he's going to be the happiest. Who's going to be that person? And the Prophet ﷺ said, Man qala la ilaha illallah khalisan min qalbihi. Okay, so this is point number 3. Point number 4, about what will grant us the shafa'ah of the Prophet ﷺ, we can say that lots of salawat and especially sajdas, and from this we make qiyas, analogy, any good deed or lots of good deeds. How do we know this? There is a beautiful tradition in Musnad Imam Ahmad that one of the servants of the Prophet ﷺ was doing khidmah to him. And so one day the Prophet ﷺ said to him, what can I give you back? Alaka haja. Meaning, you want a horse, you want a camel, you want some money, how can I help you back? So the man said, what do I want? I want your shafa'ah on the day of judgment. He said, I want your shafa'ah on the day of judgment. So the Prophet ﷺ said, who told you to say this? Like, I wasn't expecting this, right? Did somebody give you this? He said, Allah gave me the ilham. Like, my Lord put it in my heart. Nobody, this isn't a trick, right? So the Prophet ﷺ was taken aback. Like, where'd you get this notion from, that the shafa'ah? And so this Sahabi is thinking, MashaAllah, the height of the high. And so the Prophet ﷺ said that famous remark, إِمَّا لَا فَأَعِنِّي عَلَى نَفْسِكَ بِكَثْرَةِ السُّجُودِ. If that is what you want, فَإِمَّا لَا translates as, okay, if that's what you want, that's really what you want, help me to get your request. Notice, he could not guarantee. He didn't just snap his fingers and say, kun fayakun. That is Allah and only Allah. Even the Nabi ﷺ does not have the power to cause somebody to enter Jannah. He said, okay, I'll try. Help me. فَأَعِنِّي عَلَى نَفْسِكَ. Help me in your cause. Notice here. Okay, that's your request. I will try, but I need your help. What can you do to help me? بِكَثْرَةِ السُّجُودِ. Lots and lots of salawat. Sajdas. Lots and lots of sajdas. Meaning lots of salawat, right? So pray a lot, and I'll try to give my shafa'ah to you. Which means, from this we make a qiyas that every single good deed, because the prayer is the height of all good deeds, right? The best of all good deeds is the salah. So the fact that the Prophet ﷺ is specifying, help me for salah, pray a lot of salawat. From this we extrapolate, the one who comes with lots of good deeds has more of a chance of the shafa'ah of the Prophet ﷺ. These are the 4 authentic things that I found. There are others that are mentioned in the books that the isnads are not authentic, and I'll just mention one of them, which is the subject of some controversy amongst some strands of Islam, that there are a number of traditions, at least 4 or 5, but all of them are weak or very weak or even very clearly fabricated, about the issue of visiting the qabr of the Prophet ﷺ, and that these bring about the shafa'ah. And perhaps the most strongest of them, even though it is clearly weak, is the one narrated by Ad-Darqutni and Al-Bayhaqi and Shu'ab al-Iman from the Musnad of Umar ibn al-Khattab radiyallahu anhu, Man zara qabri wajabat lahu shafa'ati. Man zara qabri wajabat lahu shafa'ati. Whoever visits my qabr, my shafa'ah will become wajib upon him. And this chain has an unknown person narrating from the son of Umar al-Khattab. He is unknown, nobody knows who he is, and this is clearly an example of the weakness. So those who accept weak hadith and want to follow them, there are genre of hadith, and those that are more strict in this regard, there is no authentic hadith, that is for sure about this. So nonetheless, to visit the qabr of the Prophet ﷺ is established from other texts, and to give salam upon him is established from other texts. The question is, does visiting bring about the shafa'ah or not? And we say, go and visit and go give your salam and hope for the best. The hadith are not authentic, but there's nothing wrong with hoping for the best for all of our good deeds. Jayyid. So these are the 4 things that authentically we know bring about shafa'ah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam.